Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. We are back, guys.
Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle. And this was our first surprise video. It was a message from the guides that were deciphering about the coming galactic superwave and the splitting of reality. Oh, yeah. Hang on tight. It's going to be quite a ride.
Indeed.
Exclusive videos over on Patreon. You could join the Patreon family for as little as $1 a month at this point in time. Again, we typically do, I would say, 2 or 3 Patreon exclusives a week. So basically, it may break down as little as 10 cents for these exclusives. Each exclusive. You can't beat that. And there's information that you're just not going to get anywhere else there.
No, and it really helps to help us with the awakening.
This one says, plasma entities, watch this, tell me what you think. Well, the reason why that caught my eye, you might look and say, oh, that looks like a cheesy, somebody's just trying to, create something again. There's so much technology out, we can make things look very, very real, and then there's some things that don't look so real that you may just throw out the window and say, yeah, it's nothing. But the reason why I look at this is because of our own direct experience again. Let me just share this first. Here you have Speaker Johnson spilling the tea. Yeah, well, let's just listen really quick.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say...
So he says, Joe Biden's been signing executive orders without knowing what he's signing, not remembering what he's signing. This is the Speaker of the House saying again, what did he really say? He's not in charge. He's not in charge. Now, what he's not going to tell you is that is charge is not even human. I refer back to this first little thing that we have going on here. What does this look like? Plasma entities? Yeah. Actually, it reminds us of a jinn, and this is a jinn, and we shared this because we filmed this. This is in the Hattiesburg area of Mississippi when we were house hunting. And this entity here killed all these animals. This is what we believe. The police literally came to the RV park that we were staying at on the other side of the pond. And, they had thought, well, maybe our beloved Zeke, our 60-pound pit bull, killed all these animals. Well, Zeke never left our site, and he was on a 6-foot leash the whole time we're out in public. No, Zeke didn't wipe out, 20 animals. These animals see this. They know what this is. Well, they know it's something to be feared. It's something that's very dangerous. This is what we call a jinn. This is absolutely a dark entity. And these are all photos that we are sharing and we have shared with you guys, including things that look like mud fossils out there in the desert. I'll link these 2 videos for you guys. And, again, you can see we got the little Wikipedia about reptilian humanoids. We didn't even know we had discovered this in the video. It was told to us by one of our family members as this thing moves about there and the animals are just staring at it. These are the type of entities that can overwhelm a person if you are in a very susceptible place. So if you are on drugs, if you are compromised with alcohol, if you're lowering your frequency, your vibrations, you can literally be possessed by these entities. And then, anything could happen. And usually it's not going to be good.
No, and they're just outside the visible spectrum, but they're right there, and they can totally get you to do things if they're close enough and if you are not on guard. And we took this video, the original that we took, you could not see this because this being is in another dimension. But on the playback, it was picked up by one of our family members, and it's probably, next to the triangle flying above the truck. It was one of the more horrific things that we discovered on this journey going through our awakening, the darker side of things and how it actually functions. A lot of really difficult moments going through the awakening, understanding the darkness that's out there and what we are up against. But there are tools and things we can do to help ourselves not succumb to these energies.
Yeah, which even when we're looking at some CGI out there, because yes, there's a lot of CGI, there's a lot of AI-driven things now. The bottom line is this is a spiritual battle, which simply means multi-dimensional in nature. And so you have the Trump inauguration that's going to be moved indoors due to dangerous conditions. Okay, well, the weather, the last time we did this was 1985 with Reagan, and this Arctic blast is serious. And he talks about the weather, doesn't want to put anybody in any sort of danger. Now, the rumors are flying that it could be, is it an attack by China? I mean, we just saw the drones. We saw drones galore everywhere. And in some instances, it seemed as if certainly police departments were defenseless against drones, and apparently average citizens. So whatever some of these drones were, they were very advanced, whether they're Chinese military, Russian military, our own military. Or maybe they're not exactly all coming from Homo sapiens. Irregardless, this is a buzz. There's also a buzz about potentially dirty bombs, radiation, radioactive threats. This is the GMC map, which we've quoted a lot. South of Peoria, Illinois, there's a reading of 4122. That is like off the charts high. That's really high. If that is true. Now again, how do we get these readings? These are people that bought this little radiation detector from this company, and they're getting the readings from this radiation detector. There's an app that you download, and then you can report your readings on this map. So they're non-verified. They are non-verified. Now, from what I read about the radiation detectors, they're of a high quality. In fact, I had some people that were making comments saying, I work for so-and-so and I work for so-and-so, and they are in this business, and this is as good as what they got issued from work. And yet, is that true? Or are they trying to sell? In this world, everybody's trying to sell all the time. So you always have to take things with a grain of salt. Yet, there were all sorts of readings coming in on this map. Now, the readings on this map, they've been like way cleared. It's like somebody is washing this slate. But at the same time, they left one reading on there that is really anomalous. Literally, all these little dots, this was 10 to 100 times this. There was a lot of people coming in with readings. So it's like they are censoring this to me. Something's going on. I mean, they had all over the site. They probably have been bought out. This is what happens. These sites like this, independent little companies and stuff get bought out. The Rumbles of the world, the Brightians, the BitChutes, what have you. Just using some different alternatives to YouTube, just saying that people can be approached, people can be bought out, things can be incorporated that weren't incorporated. I don't know if it's the case with this, but it sure seems strange that all of a sudden there's only about 1 to 10% of the numbers up that were up. Maybe they're just having a glitch, but also they had over this before all sorts of disclaimers on the map itself, because they were obviously getting heat. And yet there's just one number sitting up there that happens to be, 20 times beyond what you'd want to see or more. And if it is legit, it's not a good area to be in. If it is legit, it just feels like this is very, very fishy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No, absolutely. So, especially with everything going on in this world at this point in time. Yeah, Ronald Reagan was inaugurated indoors in 1985 due to the extreme cold. And yet, this gets some people talking about continuity of government plans, because it's going to move people really close together in an indoor location with all those drones and whatever else out there. Makes people worry. Is there something going on? There's a lot going on. This is just like what we saw in Western North Carolina. LA residents whose homes burnt down in wildfires will still have to pay off their mortgages and property taxes. Yeah, you still got to pay your taxes even though you don't have a home. This is what happened in Western North Carolina. It's the same scenario. Very curious that the LA mayor, Karen Bass, returned from Ghana to LA to a fire. Now Ghana's burning up with fire. What the heck is going on here? Is she cursed? Is there a curse of Karen Bass that's going on?
It's definitely a thought.
Yeah, and just that term Karen has become such a term, like in the last 5 years or so. This was a bad accident where somebody just, I don't know if they were sleeping or what have you, at the wheel. All of a sudden, maybe they hit an icy patch. They went over the bridge. This is in D.C. Arlington Memorial Bridge, and crashed into the icy Potomac. Strange situation. We send our prayers for the family. The largest lithium-ion battery storage plant at Moss Landing is flaring up and looking as bad as it did the previous day. 1,200 people are still evacuated. Obviously, toxic fumes in the air there. Sections of U.S. Highway 285 closed following multiple crashes because of high winds and a dust storm. This is in Reeve County, Texas. Look at the vehicles all over. This is crazy. Now, there's a big winter storm that is brewing, and if you are in Mississippi and Louisiana and Texas, and take note, again, Monday through Wednesday, what's going to come as far as the weather change is going to be really drastic, and perhaps a once in 5 to 10 years storm bringing ice even into Jacksonville and Tallahassee, northern Florida. It's going to be really treacherous, and then heading over towards the northeast with perhaps half a foot to a foot of snow in some areas. A lot of people are noticing the fact that there's a lot of clouds covering, as this says, the entire world. There's an awful lot of, clouds. Did we ever have this much cloud cover? And I was looking at Ventusky this morning. It hasn't really gotten much better. It shows 100% cloud coverage over most of Russia, about 50% at the time up in Canada, and most of the U.S. cloud covered too. We see an awful lot of cloud cover. Is there nothing really going on here, or is it, again, that Gil Bates guy has said we need to block out the sun? They want to block out the sun because they want to stop ascension. They want to keep people living in their low vibrational frequency. Meanwhile, with the super cold that's coming, a lot of areas are going to be seeing 0 for a high or negative. It's going to be really cold. And this is Western North Carolina. People are lined up for blocks to get whatever propane heaters they can to keep their tents warm. Meanwhile, hundreds of billions of dollars going for death and destruction and wars. Humanity has too much patience in some ways and not enough patience in others. We've had more than enough patience with this entire system. Did you know glyphosates are systemic? They go into the plant, they stay in the plant. This is another reason why you want to buy organic, even though, what you get, will it be organic? Probably not, but it'll have less than the non-organic, that's for sure.
And you'll pay a little bit more for having less poison, but hey.
Yeah, again, everything about this system, it hasn't been a fupa. It hasn't been just about making as much money as you can. It's been worse than that, and people are waking up to that. Now, I think also what we have is this cynicism going on in the minds of people that haven't done a lot of research and maybe have been, spending days, weeks, and months of their lives playing video games. So they look at everything and they think it's just, hey, that's just a scene from Halo. It might be. Again, AI is so good now that it can make things that seem very real, not actually be real. And then vice versa, because you have people that believe everything is blue beam. They won't believe it when, somebody gets hit by something coming out of the sky right next to them. They'll think that's AI. This is part of what the system does.
Okay, so this UFO just came out of the water, guys. I saw it on my fish finder. It went underneath my boat.
Now, is this guy just simply playing a scene from a movie, and meanwhile sitting in a boat and it's being, recopied over? Could very well be. But you know what? This is exactly the type of technology that I would expect to reveal when we see the guy that was in charge of some of the research and development at Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, which made things like this and well beyond this, because, he said that we have things that are more than 50 years ahead of where you think we are, that you won't even be able to conceive of the things that we've already built. So why would we think something as mechanical and noisy as this, as it does make noise? Now that I don't think is much ahead of our time now. That's nothing that we should be saying, well, that can't be real. It's just, it's got a little advanced design. Sure, they make things that can go in the water and then out of the water. Oh, if that blows your mind, then you're not ready for what's coming. This is, what's her name? Myra, yeah. This is in Tampa. Now, this looks like a little mini Death Star that popped up out of the water. They say this popped out of the water. So everything is being telegraphed. They want us to look at the oceans now. You could get that impression.
I get that impression, yeah. So you just, we'll just have to wait and watch and see and build your discernment while we're playing this game.
Oh, it is the game, and that's the thing, as so much is telegraphed and scripted, but real lives are affected. They really, really are. This is a puppy that was born to a mama, and the mama brings the puppy in the mouth to the vet. And the vet here, as you see, they're going to do what they can to try to help it. Boy, this is, an amazing thing to see. Again, there is one consciousness. There is one consciousness having an experience as an infinite number of individuated units of consciousness. But ultimately, we are in all of us are in this ocean of consciousness. And so the quickest way up in frequency is really through love. It's just that simple.
Love moves.
Yeah, it moves mountain because mountains are holographic in nature. Ultimately, everything we see is just for you. It's all for you. It's an exploration of consciousness. And it's not about the destination. It's all about the ride.
It is. It is.
As always, guys, come join us on Patreon. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.